friends of roller derby. Welcome back to WFTDA.tv coverage of the Junior Roller Derby Association Championships right here in Loveland, Colorado, just up the road from my own hometown of Longmont, Colorado. My name is Brett Example.
And stand by back here on the stream.
We're about to see Game 10 of the day, Game 10 of the tournament on track number 1, which is the open track. And we will be seeing the River City Riot skating in gray and the Tampa Bay Junior Derby All-Stars skating in black. According to the time to Derby, that's just over a minute away.
Very good. Tampa has not skated yet today. Of course, we saw the River City Riot earlier this morning, and got number 6 seed versus number 7 here. Still place implications. Every game at this point important as far as where the teams will go next and for what place they will skate for as we progress.
The winner of this game advances to game number 15 of the tournament. That's going to be for the 5th place game, nominally scheduled for 2 p.m. Mountain Time tomorrow. That will be against the winner of game 11, which is the next game, so we don't know who that is yet. The loser of this game advances to game 14 at noon tomorrow for 7th place.
So either 5th or 7th will be the prize, depending on what happens here. Of course, anything can happen in the JRDA and often does.
According to our roster, skating in the gray of River City, we've got number 1, Jake Brake, number 10, Joe Hurt, number 100, Lemmy By, number 13, Havoc Creeper, number 19, Goldie Hurts-A-Lot, number 210, B Savage, number 23, Uptown Spunk, number 27, Ruthless, number 3, Cruel Wep, number 35, Skull Crusher, number 37, Lil Ugly, number 49, Gold Rush, number 5150, Alligator, number 73, Big Ugly, number 777, High Roller, and number 8, Tough Cookie.
Indeed, and in black, the Tampa Bay Junior Roller Derby All-Stars, black with, of course, the flamingo pink trim. 100 Matazon, 112 Tinkerbomb, 113 Nesquik, 1272 Frico Suave, 21 Hammer Time, 23 Complicated, 25 Just in Time. Number 4 is Anya Last Nerve. Number 6, Evan Ponza, 66 Sugar and Spice. Number 7, Haley Dubinsky. Number 8, Bramlett, 88, Nightmare, 888, Peaches and Streams, 9, Hot Wheels, and 999, We Do Care, Honey Badger.
Late breaking information, they let me know just at the last minute that we probably will not see number 113, Nesquik, or number 88, Nightmare skating in this game.
Ooh, okay. Tampa Bay will be short compared to what the River City Riot has, so see what happens here.
Tampa Bay coming in as the number 7 seed in the tournament. Number 6 seed is River City, so on paper, this should be a very close game. I was able to see River City skate earlier today. I was announcing that one in the house. They were victorious over the number 9 seed, Philly, by a score of 250 to 144. The whistle has blown on the track, summoning the skaters into the proper position. I will apologize in advance that due to our positioning here on the track, we might not be able to immediately tell who's jamming each time. We might have to wait until they pass us, but rest assured that you will know as soon as we know.
The listeners and viewers so far, I believe, are okay with that. They get it. We'll start recognizing faces eventually, but we have River City Riot, of course, in the gray trim, or gray with purple trim, and of course, Tampa Bay All-Stars, or Tampa Bay All, showing on the scoreboard, no stars, in the black with the Frank Flamingo pink trim.
You can reach us on the Twitters at hashtag #TalkToJRDA, where the 2 is the numeral 2. If the stars align correctly, we will see what you tweet and might even be able to respond to it.
All right.
Number 777, High Roller, first jammer out there for River City and through the pack, lead jammer, first one of the game. Still trying. Number 21 is the jammer. Whoa. That's Hammer Time for Tampa. He's being contained in turn number 1. Action is already fast and hard. High Roller around for scoring, but was bumped into the infield, had to recycle, trying again to get through on turn number 1. Hammer Time makes it out, clear to score for Tampa. High Roller bumped into the outfield and recycled, calls it off just in time to prevent scoring by hammer time. 3 points on the board. That is first blood to the River City Riot.
And I believe that was the high jump of the day there. So if you're watching at home, if you've seen a higher jump, let us know. Hashtag talk to JRDA. But good timing on that call off.
We are also inviting you, if you have a watch party, to post a Twitter picture to Twitter or Facebook and tag it with hashtag JRDA Watch Party before the end of the weekend. There are prizes. Coming up next, a Jake break for High City. Lead jammer already. Whereas for Tampa, can't see that number.
Just in time. Recognize him.
Okay, that's number 25 for Tampa. Just in time was through the pack, but Jake Brake got into the pack, 4 points, called it off.
7-0 River City Riot over Tampa Bay here, and the winner will advance to the 5th place game.
River City Riot, based in San Antonio, Texas. I have, let's see.
One of numerous river cities in the roller derby universe.
I think my aunt lives in San Antonio. It's either that or El Paso. Pretty sure it's San Antonio.
Hi, your aunt.
Number 6, Evan Ponsa has the star for Tampa. Through the pack, lead jammer already. That's the first lead call of the game, but we are, of course, in early days of the game. This is only the 3rd jam so far.
Also first power jam, so we'll see how they can take advantage of this. Got 15 seconds left in the power jam.
5 points on the board for Tampa. That gets them out of their scoring drought. Carrying the star and currently in the penalty box for High City, or River City, which is number 777, High Roller. High Roller back on the track, but not before. And Evan Ponce is able to pick up an additional 5 points for Tampa.
Wow.
Quickly through the pack and clear to score. High Roller coming around, but a final scoring pass opportunity here for Evan Ponce. Bumped into the outfield of turn number 1, calls it off, and is awarded 3 more points.
Called that one off in plenty of time, so yes, lead change as Tampa Bay leads 13-7, all 13 points in this singular jam.
So 3 jams in, just under 4 minutes in. So a series of quick jams to start off this game.
Frico Suave being sent in.
Is that the jammer for?
That was a late
Tampa?
addition to the blocker. The jammer, I believe, is Anya Last Nerve.
All right. Anya Last Nerve is number 4 for Tampa. Jamming for River City is number 37. That is Lil Ugly. I did not see him skating earlier today, so this is a new one on me. Lead jammer is number 4, Anya Last Nerve for Tampa Bay. Into the pack, 4 points, and collects a 5-point pass.
Coach Rojo with the flag out saying go, one more.
In fact, now that I look over, Lil Ugly is in the box, so this is power play advantage, Tampa Bay. Turning it into 5 more points, calling it off in time to ice Lil Ugly in the penalty box.
Good strategy, good awareness there. And we have a first timeout, timeout by River City.
That is a team timeout. Each team gets 3 such timeouts that they can call between jams. They stop the clock for 60 seconds. In addition, each team gets 1 official review per period. And if they are successful in using that official review to overturn a call by the officials, then they get it back. That only works once, though.
And how many times has that happened by your experience?
It happens periodically. Just today, I have seen, it was very interesting. We had a team successfully use the official review to get a penalty removed from one of their skaters, but then they used their retained official review to ask for a penalty on one of the opposing skaters, and that was unsuccessful.
All right. Sometimes worth the attempt.
So we are stopped, have a stopped clock at 25 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the first period. That clock is about to start up again. You'll hear that rolling whistle leaking through our microphones. That indicates the end of the team timeout. 23-7 lead for Tampa Bay after 4 jams. First 2 jams, the lead call went to River City. They capitalized, picked up points, although a handful of them. But the subsequent 2 jams, lead went to the Tampa folks, and they had double-digit jams each time. Star belongs to number 21, Hammer Time for Tampa, who just now makes it out of the pack and is clear to score. Lil Ugly back onto the track.
And star pass to number 10, Joe Hurt, but called on a forearm.
So that's an unfortunate combination there for River City.
Power Jam once again. Hammer Time, who you heard on the microphone in the nightcap last night, is jamming for Tampa Bay all, not just Tampa Bay most, and skipping through 5 points.
That's 5 power points as Hammer Time is currently unopposed on the track. The defense from River City bumping him into the infield, has to recycle back behind turn number 4 and try coming back across the jammer line. Strong defense, and we see number 10, Joe Hurt, back out of the penalty box, clear to score now for River City. Hammer Time is aware of this, calls off the jam, picks up 4 additional points. I believe that's 9 on the jam.
Correct, and more awareness, especially by Coach Rojo and Hammer Time, calling off that jam. Didn't ice the jammer that time, but still was able to add more points to the board, as I believe the last 3 or 4 jams, that is where all of Tampa's points have come. River City held to 7 since the first 2.
That is correct by my totally unofficial statistics.
You and Vince Hannity with your totally unofficial statistics. Thank you for that.
Well, you know, you do what you can. Number 25, just in time, through the pack, clear to score, lead jammer for Tampa Bay. We've got number 777 High Roller with the star for River City out of the pack as well, but a full half turn behind, which is going to give just in time a chance to carry out some scoring, call it off, and in fact picked up all 4 available points on the pass.
4 more unanswered points for the Tampa Bay All-Stars. And coming in here, of course, their past tournament performance, they finished 6th in the 2016 championships and then won the 2016 Southern Regional Tournament. Now, River City Riot in the 2017 South and North Central Regional, 4th place, 2016 Southern Regional, 2nd place.
Taking the star for River City is number 1, Jake Brake, but is being called for a track-cutting penalty, has to head off to the penalty box. Power play favoring Tampa. Jammer there is number 6, Evan Ponsa, lead jammer for the jam. So Ponsa now deflected into the infield, recycled back behind Joe Hurt. The packs are... the singular pack, I should say, is hovering right outside of turn number 2. Ponsa makes it through. That should be a 5-point pass, and it is.
5 points. I was wondering about possible no pass, no penalty there, or even worse, but no, was able to pass everybody upright and in bounds.
So another opportunity here where Tampa has iced the River City jammer in the penalty box. In this case, that jammer being Jake Brake, number 1, who will continue to be the jammer into this jam for River City. Timeout being indicated, an official timeout stops the clock at 21 minutes and 54 seconds.
So again, River City Riot entering the number 6 seed. Tampa Bay Junior Derby All-Stars entering the number 7 seed. The winner of this going into the 5th place game, potentially to improve on what the expectation was. Tampa Bay All-Stars in the 2017 competitive season 6-0, and River City Riot in their competitive sanctioned season 5-2. More on that later.
So a very brief official timeout. Coming out jamming for Tampa is number 4, Anya Last Nerve, pushed into the infield. Number 1, Jake Brake for River City has now come out of the penalty box through the pack, clear to score, and lead jammer for Jake. And
how many spins on that one?
A large number of spins, but it did the trick, and in fact that breaks a lead jammer drought for River City and sets up the ability to pick up some points here for the first time in a while. In fact, there's 5 of them right there, since the blockers for River City have been able to contain Anya Last Nerve in the pack on her initial pass. She's pushing at the front now, but is bowled over into the infield. At the same time, Jake Brake is encountering some resistance at the back of the pack and is fighting on the inside line. Whistle blowing now, not sure to whom. It's a clockwise block on number 1217, Frico Suave from Tampa. Coming out of the pack, an additional 5 points collected by Jake Brake. This is the first double-digit jam for the River City squad. Very timely indeed, as they'd fallen 34 points behind their opponents. And so this will likely not be enough to bring them all the way back into the lead, but it at least keeps them in contention. Jake Brake now bumped into the infield, recycled yet again.
Nice correction there. Want to avoid that track cut, and that is good that you can correct now and aren't automatically called on something.
Yeah, we have seen a significant decrease in cutting calls since the rule change that allows you to yield the advantage you've given. You do still have to be pretty prompt at yielding that advantage. 4 final points collected by Jake Brake at the end of the jam, 14 on the jam, and we have a 21-41 game. Another timeout. This one an official timeout of some flavor that stops the clock at 20 minutes and 4 seconds.
I'm also enjoying the impact on the game that we have with the change of skaters able to enter the penalty box from either direction. At first I thought, wow, this is going to be the most dangerous thing I've ever seen, but it hasn't been. The outside pack refs have, for the most part this season, learned to live with it, and it reduces the amount of time skaters are out of play.
Well, we certainly have seen the sport as a whole evolve to bi-directional play. Number 21, Hammer Time, through the pack, clear to score, and lead jammer for Tampa Bay. Holding the star for River City, number 37, Little Ugly. Still contained within the pack. The pack has moved into turn number 2. Little unsteady, but makes it through. 5 points collected by Hammer Time. Little Ugly has broken out of the pack, but is about a third of a turn behind Hammer Time. Hammer Time takes advantage, picks up some points. 4 of them, calls off the jam.
Hammer Time will soon be joining the adult ranks, which is great for the adult ranks, MRDA or what have you. But yes, previously also skated for the attack pack. Of course, the attack pack and Tampa Bay Junior Roller Derby closer than any 2 other teams this weekend on the same track.
A number of skaters this weekend are aging out of their juniors programs. We do not always know what adult league, if any, they might be joining. Lead jammer has been assigned, and it is to the River City jammer, who I can't quite see who. I think it's Jake Brake. No, it is number 210, B Savage. That is his first time out there with the start this game. He jammed a considerable amount during the game that I watched earlier today.
Quite the prolific jammer last game, too, so interested to see how much more he has left in the tank.
Now, he's still contained within the pack, while number 25, Just in Time, has gotten out of the pack for Tampa. So in a defensive move, B Savage calls it off. No points scored.
Just in Time is quite an effective jammer for the most part. In fact, the 2016 JRDA Southeast Regional Tournament, where they won over the Duval All-Stars of Jacksonville, I believe that was an all-time scoring record for Just in Time, if not darn near close.
Wow. Very impressive. Skaters on the track, making sure their various bits of gear and helmet covers are in place. Wearing the star for River City, number 777, that's High Roller. He's through the pack and lead jammer. In hot pursuit is Tampa's jammer, who happens to be Evan Ponson, number 6. There are maybe 40 feet between the 2 jammers, and the pack is racing. They want to make it hard for High Roller to score. I think he did pass a couple of opponents. Yes, in fact, 2 of them. So 2 points awarded to River City.
Still anybody's game. Nobody running away with it. There was a brief swing for Tampa, but once again, things have settled down quite a bit. 23-50. So, again, the winner of this game goes on to the 5th place game.
And the loser goes on to the 7th place game. And since, as we've mentioned before, the teams are seeded number 6 and number 7, it is possible for the teams to maintain their seeding or improve or, in fact, lose a spot. Number 21, Hammer Time, lead jammer for Tampa. Carrying the star for High Roller, repeating a jam. He was skating out there with the star again for River City, just now getting out of the pack. Hammer Time looking to complete a scoring pass. Calls off the jam. How many opponents passed? Looks like 3. And at this point, with the lead of 30 points, Tampa can be content to just grab a few and call it, grab a few and call it.
Right. Every point counting here, just one by one, that's fine, and clock management as well. Evan Ponza actually aging out, I believe I've heard the term over and over this weekend. Evan Ponza, Bramlett, Hammer Time, Just in Time, Sugar and Spice, and Nesquik, who was on the charter, all about to graduate from Tampa Junior Roller Derby. Delay of game call.
And do we know which team it's going against?
Appear to be Tampa. As Just in Time goes to the penalty box. Just in Time, apparently the captain. The penalty for delay of game goes on the captain and not the jammer. Thank goodness. Nope.
The skater started skating, but the whistle in question was not the start the jam whistle. It was the end the timeout whistle.
And you usually see that in level 1 and level 2. You rarely see it in level 3, but it's still fun when you do.
So now, double interestingly, however, the jam started on the scoreboard, so that's going to have to be reset, I think.
Well, they were full too, so it happens.
So it's back into showing lineup instead. Just about halfway through our first period of this game, and then we will have a halftime and a second period of the game. It is number 6, Evan Ponza, with the star for Tampa, whereas number 210, B. Savage, is jamming for River City.
B. Savage corrected before entering turn 1. That was almost certain track cut if he did not, so lead jam.
So B. Savage with lead, about a quarter turn ahead of Ponza, who is also clear to score. B. Savage into the pack for points, quickly calls it off, denies any points to Tampa on this jam, and collects all 4 available points for River City.
2.5 gainer on that, and under 30-point game, 26-point game, just halfway through the first half. River City Riot, Jake Brake, Goldie Hurts a Lot, Ivy Profen will all be graduating. Goldie will be going to the Syntex Roller Girls. Goldie on the charter, but not on the roster for this game.
First one through the pack this time is number 25, Just in Time, lead jammer for Tampa Bay. River City's number 1, Jake Brake, is out of the pack as well and approaching the pack right now. In fact, I think he might have just stolen a point or 2.
I think so.
I can see 1 finger from the jam ref, 3 collected by Tampa Bay, so a 3-1 jam win favoring Tampa.
Still net 2 for Tampa Bay all, not just Tampa Bay some, as we'll see what the sum of the points is later.
You can also follow at JRDA_rocks on Twitter if you want more information about what's going on with the Junior Roller Derby Association. And talk to us at #talk, the number 2, JRDA. Number 21, Hammer Time, has the star for Tampa, almost makes it out of the pack, but is bumped into the infield. That gives another opportunity to number 37, Lil Ugly, with the star for River City. And Lil Ugly makes it out, lead jammer. And actually has quite a run here to pick up some points. Hammer Time still within the pack for Tampa.
Hammer Time stopped. I had to say that once this weekend.
It was inevitable. Lil Ugly with 1 to beat.
Oh.
That 1 happens to be number 888, Peaches and Streams for Tampa. And, no give there. Lil Ugly notices that Hammer Time has made it out of the pack, calls it off to play it safe, does earn all 4 available points on that pass.
Tampa coming in the 2017 competitive season sanctioned record 6-0, and again, River City Riot 5-2. We'll break that down later.
So the flow of the game has certainly kept the score differential kind of oscillating between about 20 points and about 30 points. Tampa has led the game ever since the 3rd jam, but River City's not letting them run away with it. Number 777, high roller, through the pack first, a lead jammer in front of Evan Ponsa, who has the star for Tampa.
Nicely done, taking those 4 points and calling it off.
As I was saying before, there are times when it can be perfectly appropriate just to grab a few points, call it off, grab a few points, call it off. That has brought the lead back down to 20 points, which is as small as it has been since about the 5th jam of the game. So River City seeded 6th. No, I have that wrong. River City. No, I am right.
Correct.
River City seeded 6th. Tampa Bay seeded 7th. So at the moment, Tampa Bay performing kind of above their seed. Number 25, just in time, through and lead jammer for Tampa Bay. While number 777, high roller, is jamming a 2nd time in a row for River City. Now makes it out of the pack. But is not going to have a scoring opportunity as just in time calls it off with 4 points.
Assisting coach Rojo Grande this weekend is the Tampa Bay All-Star Lauren Kill. Might see her on the sidelines as we progress this weekend. Tampa's bench closer to ours, and Tampa calling a timeout.
That's team timeout for Tampa. It's the first one they have called. Each team has now called one of their 3. Clock stopped with 10 minutes and 17 seconds remaining in our first period of play.
The River City Riot, as we mentioned, 5-2 in the 2017 competitive season, had 2 games over the weekend of January 14. A win over the Chick Whips and another win over Texas. The one over Texas, 312-66, defeated the Chick Whips also 219-104. February 25th defeated the Rolling Rebellion 485-55. Then March 19th against Tulsa, won that one 281-106. Wasatch next, the weekend of April 29th, defeated them 406-80, but then fell to the Foco Spartans, who you just saw, 202-116. Actually, so that would be 5-1, not 5-2, but that is the River City Riot competitive season so far. Now, the competitive season for Tampa Bay, we'll get to that in a moment as skaters called back to the track following that timeout. Both teams have used 1 timeout this half, and both, of course, retain their official review for future purposes.
For the first period as well. Yeah, and one handy use for that can be if the period clock is under 30 seconds and you want to guarantee another jam. So wearing the star for Tampa is number 4. That, as we have seen before, is Anya Last Nerve. She's through and lead jammer. Carrying the star for River City is number 1, Jake Brake, who's decided to face the other direction and play some defense as a jammer. One of the rules is that jammers can engage each other anywhere on the track, whereas blockers can only engage jammers within the pack. Jake did remove the star and has now passed it to the pivot for River City. Happens to be number 10, Joe Hurt. But Joe was unable to do anything with it as Anya Lester picks up 5 points and calls it off.
Official timeout. And speaking of official reviews, another change that I know the referees like, so I've been told, is that when you call an official review now, you can use that as an additional timeout, but you do not have to specify to the referees something to review. You don't have to actually ask them a question or ask them to review something, like such as reviewing Star Wars versus Star Trek or anything else of that matter. You do not have to actually engage the referees in reviewing anything. Found that out at a junior game that seemed to last forever.
Well, although I have heard a few fairly entertaining stories about the the things that the officials were asked to review just for the sake of a timeout. Clock is stopped with 9 minutes and 30 seconds remaining on it.
Tampa Bay Junior Derby, they have an undefeated 2017 competitive season sanctioned record 6-0. It started last November with a win over the Duval All-Stars, who are now of Jacksonville, who are now rebuilding and will be competing in the female division coming up shortly. 231 to 123. Then more victories after that, and more on that as we return to action with Hammer Time. I know Hammer Time on the line. And 777.
That's high roller for River City. Hammer Time goes to the outside, is through first lead jammer, but high roller not far behind. I'd call that only about 30, maybe 40 feet behind. The pack is accelerating a bit and now slowing down. Hammer Time into the pack, calls it off. How many opponents did he pass? 3. So a 3-point jam favoring Tampa Bay takes them to 68 points compared to the 36 points of River City.
Close count, maintaining that lead. However, one power jam can wipe that out.
So this is now the second largest lead that Tampa has held during the course of the game. They did lead briefly by 34 points earlier in the period. So you see not a whole lot of fluctuation here. The two teams have been well matched. It's just that a bit of an early advantage to Tampa Bay that they've been able to hold on to. Jamming now, we have number 6, Evan Ponsa, out there in the black colors of Tampa. He started to make it through, but he's called for a forearm block. And so he has to go sit for 30 seconds. Meanwhile, a track cut is assessed to River City's jammer. So neither jammer eligible for lead. That is B. Savage with the star for River City. So Ponsa released and can complete the initial pass. That also applies to B. Savage, but this jam will go the full 2 minutes, of which just over 1 minute remain on the clock. Ponsa pushes out first, clear to score for Tampa Bay.
And indeed, that is Evan Ponsa, not triple check tiny Helly Dubinsky for the record.
That has now been corrected on the scoreboard. Ponsa completes a scoring pass. That should be good for 5, and it is. Where did B. Savage go? I think B. Savage is seated in the penalty box. Yes, so this is actually power play for Tampa.
And the star is in the infield waiting.
That explains why he's not wearing it. Another scoring pass for Ponsa. Picks up 5 more for Tampa. This is Tampa definitely capitalizing on this opportunity.
10 seconds to go.
So B. Savage has returned to the track. He is allowed to enter the infield to retrieve the star. He does so, but he will not pick up any points on this jam. And we're getting a final determination of points on the last pass, I believe, for no additional points awarded to Tampa. So nevertheless, those 10 points have extended Tampa to their greatest lead of the game so far at 42.
Building on that lead slowly but surely. That's all that counts.
Number 25 just in time through the pack, and there's some hesitance whether or not he's lead jammer. He is lead jammer.
Number 1, Jake Brake. That is number 1, Jake Brake.
Yeah, Jake Brake hasn't jammed in a little while, but out there now. 4 points collected by Ponsa, calls off the jam.
Another one of the effective jammers in the previous game, so we'll see what happens if perhaps a little strategy change, especially after halftime.
Period clock has ticked past 6 minutes remaining, so we're down to just a few jams remaining until halftime. I think we might have a somewhat abbreviated halftime this around. We're running a bit behind on both tracks due to various delays during earlier games. So they might shorten the halftime to 10 minutes. So number 4, Anya Lasnerve, is called for a high block. She does have the star for Tampa Bay, so that will give a great opportunity to River City, whose jammer here is, it is
Joe Hurt.
Yes, number 10, Joe Hurt, who
wanted to jump the apex and then thought better of it and swung outside. And you see met up with defense. Nicely done.
Well, Joe Hurt has taken a star pass a couple times during this game. This is his first time in this game that he's starting with the star. And earning lead is a great way to start with that. And now gets out of the pack. And that's 5 points. The power play is now over as Anya Lasnerve has returned to the track. Whistles blowing, a misconduct, and Anya Lasnerve leaves the track again, so an extended power play opportunity.
Almost unfortunately crawling over a blocker that was inadvertent, but in close quarters things happen.
Yep. Joe Hurt pushing at the top of the pack, trying to push beyond the reach of the pack, does so. 5 more points. Well, all this work, and that's a second 5-point pass. He calls off the jam, icing Anya Lasnerve in the penalty box.
Good move as only 34 points separate the teams. 4 minutes to go in the half. Still, anything can happen, and the winner will go on, as we said, to the 5th place game. River City Riot rising in the rankings, number 6 seed and number 6 in the JRDA. They started the season at number 12, then rose to 11, then 8, and finally 6 on July 1st.
And tomorrow we will find out where they actually wind up. It's number 1, Jake Brake with the star for River City. Anya Lasnerve coming out of the penalty box, rejoining the action, coming across the pivot line. Jake has already earned the lead for River City, and now it is up to the River City pack to contain Anya Lasnerve. Trying at the top of the pack, but I'm not sure. Yep, she's out of the pack, clear to score. Jake Brake calls it off. And the score
looks like 1.
Just a single point. That indeed is what the jammer ref was indicating. Nevertheless, it is one unanswered point, and that will cut the lead of Tampa down to 35 points.
Tampa's rank as a number 7 seed, started at number 7 this season, up to 6, up to 5, up to 4 at a height, then 6, then back to 7, July 1st.
Both jammers on the track now. It's Jake Brake, a second time in a row jamming for River City against number 21 Hammer Time for Tampa Bay.
High block called on the Riot jammer.
So Jake Brake will sit down for 30 seconds, and capitalizing on the opportunity, Hammer Time is through for lead. Pack is hovering just outside turn number 2. Tampa blockers moving up to provide a little bit of offense, try and clear a path for Hammer Time. Nevertheless, River City able to contain him somewhat over there in turn number 3. There he gets through on the inside, probably 5? Yes, 5. And it is a power play favoring Tampa.
Referee for a word with Jake Brake, and then careful to come back in and not get hit by the skaters coming back around.
Hammer Time still in scoring position. All 4 River City blockers are out there. Hammer Time has passed most or all of them, is bumped back into the infield. Calls it off, successfully trapping Jake Brake in for another start of another jam. 5 more points for a total of 10 on the jam for Tampa Bay.
We'll have at least one more jam here in the first half. Still not a commanding lead one way or another for either team in this game, but Tampa has maintained their lead, and almost the ratio, though not quite at times, as you said, kind of going back and forth.
It's been back and forth, but it's actually at a bit of a peak right now with a 45-point lead. which could be extended here as Evan Ponsa has gotten through the pack and is lead for Tampa.
Oh.
Jake Brake wastes no time getting out of the penalty box and through the pack, is nevertheless half a turn behind Ponsa, who therefore has time to do something about it. And more to the point, time to prevent Jake Brake from doing anything about it. So that is all 4 fingers. An official review called by River City with 16 seconds on the clock. It might simply be to stop the clock, or they might be reviewing something.
There was a big crash in turn 4 that brought the crowd alive. They might have thought they saw something, and the bench may have seen it too. I did not see it, but again, part of the fun of the official review is finding out, trying to figure out what could possibly be reviewed, and yes, it could just be for a timeout purpose.
If we find out, or if and when we find out, we'll certainly let you know. I am able to tell you also about an international junior roller derby tournament and roller disco in Copenhagen, Denmark, coming up August 11th and 12th, 2017, hosted by Creatures of the Abyss tournament, the CAT tournament. And you can find out more at www.catrollerderby.com, or if you prefer to call it www.catrollerderby.com.
Kind of a combination of a cat and an octopus in their logo.
Works for me. I like cats. I like octopuses. You can also go to facebook.com/CAT Junior Roller Derby.
Cool part about that is if you cannot make it to Copenhagen, streaming for that event will be free. So tune in, see what's going on across the Atlantic as Junior Roller Derby taking over the world. The fastest growing sport in the world and the fastest growing part of the fastest growing sport in the world.
So the official review here has continued past a minute, so we'll let you know what's going on.
You want to use mine?
So our
we tried.
Our head referee is going to pick up a mic and announce it, so stand by.
River City was looking for a back block on the Tampa Jammer. After review, we determined that Tampa Jammer did indeed contact a legal target zone on the River City Riot blocker. No call stands. River City Riot loses our official review for the half.
There you have it. It was effective at stopping the clock in time to run an additional jam.
That was what they thought they saw and what they heard. I was sure of that. So 16 seconds to go, and still River City Riot behind, but certainly not by an insurmountable margin.
What is almost certainly the last jam of the period is underway. Number 1, Jake Brake, lead jammer for River City against number 25, just in time with the star for Tampa. Not far behind, only I'd say about 20 feet. And so entering the pack, he goes to the air. Jake Brake calls it off, is not awarded any points. And 2 actually taken by Tampa Bay. So that proposition did not quite pay off the way that River City wanted. We're going to go into halftime with a lead of 51 points for the Tampa Bay Junior Roller Derby All-Stars with 98-47 for the River City Riot.
That was a good move calling it off from the floor, because that was a certain track cut to be had if the jammer stood up. So good strategy, quality derby in the battle for 5th place right here with the Tampa Bay All-Stars and the River City Riot, and 30 minutes more to come. Anything can happen, and likely will.
As I predicted, we've cut the time of halftime down to about 10 minutes to try and catch up on time a little bit. So we'll be back with you a couple minutes before the end of that halftime. We'll do some research here, see if we can pick up information about penalties and run some of those unofficial statistics that we enjoy so much. Welcome back to WFTDA.TV coverage of the Junior Roller Derby Association Championship Tournament here in Loveland, Colorado at the ranch. I'm Brad Example.
And I'm standby here on color for the Tampa Bay All-Stars against the River City Riot. Winner, again, going to the 5th place game tomorrow.
So a couple of numbers that we collected at halftime. They're actually, the two teams are fairly evenly matched when it comes to penalties. 17 penalties collected by Tampa, 20 by River City, and only one skater in a small amount of penalty trouble. That is River City's Joe Hurt has 4. Should that number sneak up to 7, he will have fouled out of the game. A couple of highly unofficial statistics from my own calculations. The two teams are also somewhat evenly matched in terms of lead jammer percentages, but the edge goes to Tampa Bay, and that is reflected in the edge they have in the score. That is 54% for Tampa, 42% for River City. The highest scoring jammer I'm aware of is number 21, Hammer Time for Tampa, closely followed by Evan Ponce with 32 points, 34 points for Hammer Time. On the other side of the board, Jake Break has 19 points for River City.
Remember now, you can join the conversation all weekend long. Hashtag talk the number 2 JRDA and talk 2 JRDA. And yes, in the last game, Stacy, that was a huge upset over the Des Moines Derby Brats. This time we have the number 6 and number 7 seed. So far, number 7 leading number 6, which is not as huge of an upset, but still, as far as expectation goes, 98-47, still, anything can happen, and winner, as we said, goes to the 5th place game, and the runner-up will play for 7th, both of those games tomorrow.
51 points is not an insurmountable lead, but I have to point out that it's more than River City has scored in the game to this point. So there certainly is an uphill climb for River City at this point, since Tampa Bay has doubled up on them. They're going to start the second period by giving the star to number 1, Jake Break, who's been doing a lot of jamming for them. His opponent is going to be number 25, just in time for Tampa. Tampa skating in the black with pink trim, and in the gray with purple trim is River City from San Antonio.
Big Ugly back in street clothes for River City Riot. I should point that out.
Both of the current jammers have been doing some hard work out there. They've jammed 9 and 8 times, respectively. Jake Break makes it out first, lead jammer, and gets a power play opportunity as a track cut penalty is assessed to just in time. So if you're going to start the second period down 50 points, this is the way to start that period.
See what happens here as defense has to crank it up to 11 or at least 10.
I saw an illegal procedure being assessed in some fashion, but Jake Break is not the recipient of that penalty. Through the pack, collects all 5 points.
Jamer standing and being advised to call it off based on sign language. High block and a forearm at once.
Well, that is going to make it impossible for Jake Break to call off the jam, so we're going to go the remainder of the 1 minute left on the jam. Just in time, out of the pack, out of the box, into the pack, not quite through it and clear to score yet. Last line of defense by River City there. Finally, well, apparently that was, in fact, a scoring pass. 4 points awarded. It's not 5 due to a no pass, no penalty, meaning that he legally passed an opponent while out of bounds. This time, it is 4 points again. In this case, the penalty box had emptied out. So 8 so far on the jam for just in time.
Chambers engaged and just in time not playing that game.
Yeah. Jake Break wanted to try and drag Justin all the way back to the front of the pack. Just in time saying, no thank you. So as time expires on the jam, both jammers into the pack for additional points. The score there, 5 more for River City and a couple more for Tampa Bay.
Well, looks like a wash after all that fun, but I do want to point out the tenacity by B. Savage a few passes ago, taking the defense out to the very edge, not even receiving out of play warning, just going back on his own after the blocking. Another timeout. Official timeout this is.
Stops the clock. Only 2.5 minutes into our second period of this game. Second and final. We play 2 periods of 30 minutes in duration. I will remind you that watch party pictures can be posted to Twitter or Facebook and tagged with hashtag JRDA Watch Party before the end of the weekend. Prizes will be offered. It doesn't tell us what kind of prizes.
Fabulous swag, last I heard.
Cool.
Which is about as good a definition.
Number 777 High Roller with the star for River City, jamming against number 21 Hammer Time.
Hammer Time sent back. Nicely done. 2 on 3 on 4 on 1. Then back.
Well, the pack got really spread out, but a penalty now assessed to High Roller, and the advantage goes to Hammer Time, who just now squeaks through on the inside line and earns lead.
Oh,
Hammer Time
so close.
goes to the air, does not quite land where he wants to, and recycles back behind the pack. Meanwhile, High Roller is headed back around to the back.
Blasting past.
Oh, man.
And Jammer races on.
That was quite the hit that Cruel Whip absorbed there.
There's that. Oh! 4-0. 8 total for Tampa Bay all to add to all their points.
Total on the scoreboard, 116-52 with just under 26 minutes to play. This is, so far, remaining the game for Tampa Bay. They have the target in their sights, and they're going to go for it. Evan Ponsa, lead jammer for Tampa Bay. High Roller. No. Lil Ugly, number 37, it has the star for River City and is out of the pack. And this is an opportunity. Let's see.
Well,
Ponsa
what did you do?
Is going to the penalty box.
I didn't see the call. It was a little.
It's misconduct, and in fact is being given a second penalty for insubordination, not getting off the track quickly enough.
Wow.
So that'll be a 1 minute sit for Ponsa.
I thought maybe he was just a little confused and not really insubordination style, but more of just, did you call me on something or not, buddy? But yeah, 1 minute now.
There did seem to be some manner of confusion, but the result is the same. 5 points going on the board for Lil Ugly. And it's double the usual opportunity to score unopposed here. Lil Ugly tries to squeeze through on the inside, goes to the outside. It's still fierce defense on the inside line by Tampa. Trying another shot on the outside, this time with a spin, gets out of the pack and is awarded 5 points.
That was
okay, that's
lead,
interesting. It was like, yeah. An attempt to call it off.
Nobody was fooled, which is good.
Well,
except for the ref.
There was a start of the whistling, and actually it's to Lil Ugly's advantage to not have that called off, because it's actually a penalty if you successfully call it off when you're not lead.
Exactly.
So the skaters now trading 4-point passes. 3 on the final pass for Lil Ugly as 2 minutes expire, and the total score here by my count's a little different than the scoreboard, so I assume that the scoreboard is correct. We have 69 to 124.
Net 9 for the Riots, and an official timeout, so maybe Maybe that score will come into discussion.
Well, I agree that 17 points were picked up on that jam. Just my total disagrees. And so,
Okay.
I mean, I assume that the officials are correct. Clock is stopped with 23 minutes and 14 seconds. So 69 to 124. Coming into the next jam, I believe that is number 4, Anya Lastnerv, jamming for Tampa. And I think it's number 10, Joe Hurt, with the star for River City. Anya Lastnerv, lead jammer for Tampa. Already back around for points.
Full speed into the pack.
Joe Hurt sneaks through on the inside and is now clear to score for River City. Anya tries to get it called off, does so. What are the points going to be? Okay, so none go to River City, 3 to Tampa.
Lucky on that one. I was kind of a delayed, kind of should I, am I, kind of a call off.
There are times when the skaters need to get very emphatic with their call-offs to make it clear that, yes, I am calling it off right now.
Ooh.
Number 1, Jake Break with the star for River City. In fact, the first one through, and lead jammer. Coming out next, number 25, just in time for Tampa Bay. Got a 50-point gap on the track. Jake Break goes to the air, basically does a tumble, calls it off, but did not successfully grab any points.
No points, but fun to watch indeed.
Ooh. Fun to watch, probably not too fun to do.
Has no bearing on the final except perhaps helping Tampa because of the time.
The clock is definitely Tampa Bay's friend right now. There are 21 minutes and change remaining in the period. We're going to stop the clock at 21 minutes and 15 seconds.
Another official timeout. Don't know.
Well, the official timeouts in this game have been relatively brief, and I'm going to knock on wood here because we have had no injury stoppages in the game so far, and I want it to stay that way.
Correct. And we have a plastic table, so knocking on, well, I don't know what we're.
That's why I was knocking on my head, but I figured that's the closest source of wood to what we got here.
Takes all kinds of Derby announcers, and thank you for joining us this weekend, no matter where you are on WFTDA.tv. You're getting 34 games for $20, still a steal in my book, and you've heard me say so. Back to action now. Yes, again, this has implications for Sunday. As you saw the bracket, the winner will go on to the 5th place game, and the runner-up will go to the 7th place game.
We are in game number 10 on track number 1. There is a whole other track of junior roller derby going on this weekend. This is the open division, and then we have a women-only division. So trying to get through the pack up front is number 21 for Tampa Bay. That's Hammer Time. Not successful. Recycled all the way back behind the pivot line. That gives River City's jammer a chance to get through first. Lead jammer, it is number 210, B. Savage. He hasn't jammed in a few jams here. In fact, this is his first jam of the second period.
No pass, no penalty on the last pass by Hammer Time it was. Still claiming 1 point. We'll see. Yes, 2-1 on that last pass. Holding up points in full Stephanie Gentz New Jack City Roller style, calling the score and hoping you're right.
Takes us that's chipping 1 point off the lead that Tampa has here. Still is a substantial lead, 57 points. 20 minutes to erase that lead. And it doesn't help that Evan Ponsa for Tampa Bay is the first one through and lead jammer in this jam. Number 1, Jake Break with the star for River City, playing some defense at the back of the pack. but as a consequence has to go back behind the pack himself and try again to get through. Both jammers within the pack now. Ponce on a scoring pass. And now gets out of the pack, earned all 5. Jake Brake manages to get out of the pack on his initial pass, but he's a full half turn behind Ponce.
Just blasting through and calling it off.
Successfully preventing any points picked up by Jake Brake, and the final number of fingers held up appears to be 4.
That's right, 9-0 for Tampa, 137-71. I want to say hello to Mrs. Chansey back in Florida listening. She's actually out at her local craft store while listening to this game. So thank you once again. Take the audio wherever you are. Do not drive and watch Derby at the same time, no matter how talented you think you are.
Number 777, high roller with the star for the first time in a little while for River City. Number 4, Anya Last Nerve through the pack, lead jammer for Tampa. High roller has made it out now as well, about a little less than half a turn behind. Anya Last Nerve slows down as she hits the pack and is trying to call it off. That does eventually happen. I haven't seen the point awards yet.
I feared a track cut on that, and I think she did too.
There is a little bit of discussion amongst the officials in the center of the track, but I'm not seeing anything coming of it. And in fact, it's been declared to be a score-free jam.
So River City Riot rushing to the track, and not everybody making it to the track in time.
And if you're not on the track when the jam starts, you may not join the jam in progress. Just in time, number 25 through and lead for Tampa. And number 777, high roller, jamming for a second time in a row for River City. He goes to the air and manages to get out of the pack, not before 5 points have already been picked up by Just in Time. Just in Time with an opportunity to pick up even more and call it off. Does so. Should be 4. It is.
So 9 total once again for Tampa Bay all, not Tampa Bay some. 146-71. 16 minutes and a half when we pick up again.
And Tampa really taking advantage of this second period to not only solidify but expand their lead. It's up to 75 points now. Tampa has earned lead 3 times in a row. Jake Brake back on the line for River City, number 1. Tries to get out on the outside, not successful. It's number 21, Hammer Time, with the star for Tampa Bay. Goes to the air, makes it out, lead jammer. Jake Brake bumped to the infield by number 23, Complicated for Tampa Bay. Enough time for Hammer Time to get through 5 points. Jake Brake still on his initial pass. Star pass by River City to number 18, or it must be 19. Goldie Hurts a lot.
Goldie once again will be going to the Syntex Roller Girls soon, so no doubt future teammates checking this game out on WFTDA.tv as we have another 9-0 jam for Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay describing a region. Tampa itself is a city. Tampa Bay is the region down there, which includes the territory that the attack packet is in across the bay in St. Pete.
Number 777, high roller, out and lead for River City. First time they've been able to grab lead in a little bit here. Evan Ponce was out of the pack for Tampa. A single point picked up by high roller, calling off the jam.
Apologies accepted on the track.
There is a question on the Twitter feed that I'm afraid I don't know the answer to, which is where do we find scores for completed champs games? I imagine your best bet might be to follow at JRDA_rocks and see if that's where you can find some scores. Number 4, on your last nerve, through the pack lead jammer for Tampa. B Savage seems to have the star out there for, yeah, it is B Savage. He is jamming for River City, coming up on the pack, but Anya gets it called off first. And it's a 3-0 jam favoring Tampa.
The pivot has fouled out. The River City Riot pivot, I believe that was Joe Hurt Joe Hurt has reached 7 penalties, so we'll need a substitution in the penalty box, someone else to play pivot. There we go. So Joe Hurt will return to the staging area.
That was the one skater we really noticed as being in potential trouble at halftime. He had 4 penalties already at that time. We got a fresh jammer out there. No, I think I've read that wrong. It must be, yeah, it's number 25, just in time. Lead jammer for Tampa. Into the pack for all 4 points.
Seems fresh. Been a couple minutes. Perhaps for scores, I have seen a lot of the teams still taking pictures of the scoreboard. That's something that the JRDA in the past on Facebook has posted on Facebook, JRDA. But if not, you might want to go to the respective teams' Facebook pages and check it out, because I have seen a lot of people photographing the scoreboard as the weekend has gone on.
Number 777, high roller with the star for River City. Number 21, Hammer Time, jamming for Tampa. And
High
Hammer
steps
Time
and takes it, yeah.
Yeah, manages to keep his skates in bounds, lead jammer. High roller recycled back behind number 999, Honey Badger from the Tampa squad. 5 points collected by Hammer Time. High roller removes the jammer cap, potentially preparatory to passing that star. The star pass happens. I can't see the number, but I think it is Goldie Hurts a lot. No, that's number 3, Cruel Whip, that took the star pass. Unable to get into the pack in time to score, however.
Tampa building and over a 2-to-1 ratio at this point with 11 minutes to go. So River City Riot, again, working against the clock. If they want to make a comeback, they have to start now. And the more jammer mistakes they can cause, the better.
Tampa has managed to pile up a 104-point lead. An official timeout stops the clock at 10 minutes and 55 seconds. You can reach us on the Twitters at hashtag #Talk2JRDA, where that 2 is the number 2. So yeah, just in the last few jams here, we've seen Tampa increase their lead from the low 80s to 90 to now 104.
Okay, a misconduct called, and that is going against the jammer of record for River City. Jammer sent to the penalty box, and the referee looking for a GTO, I guess, to talk that over and make a point. Nope, same deal as last time. Oh no, okay, just getting into position. All right, power start for Tampa forthcoming.
So that's very interesting. The star had been passed last jam by high roller to Cruel Whip, but Cruel Whip is out there skating right now as a blocker. And if I read the number correctly, it's number 1, Jake Break, in the penalty box for River City. Number 4, Anya Last Nerve, is the jammer for Tampa, out of the penalty box, or out of the pack, and lead jammer.
Perhaps that's why we're looking for a specialized official to make a clarification on that. More on that when we find out.
So Jake Break is now out of the penalty box, rejoining the action. Still on his initial pass. Whistle's blowing at the far side of the track. And River City's number 19, Goldie Hertzlot, to the penalty box.
2 blockers, including the pivot, in the penalty box for River City as Tampa builds on their lead. 5 more points, under 10 minutes to go.
So with 109-point differential and 10 minutes to go, that's over 10 points a minute that River City needs to make up during the remainder of this game. And frankly, the momentum is not going that direction. Lil Ugly with the star for River City against number 6, Evan Ponsa for Tampa. Ponsa through the pack, lead jammer. Lil Ugly tries going right up the middle, meets some resistance, is held up on the inside line. And in fact now called for a track cut. And 4 points being signaled for Ponsa. And on the subsequent pass, 5 are being indicated.
2 blockers returning to play for River City should make it a little more difficult for Ponsa. Multiplayer block called.
Right up the inside line, another 5-point power pass. Lil Ugly has returned to the track, but I believe has not completed his initial pass. 5 more being signaled for Ponsa. Power play is over. Lil Ugly now out of the pack and coming around on a scoring pass. We'll watch Ponsa, calls it off for more points.
Not the easiest 19 points scored by Evan in this weekend, but still quite effective as Tampa reaches 200 points.
I mean, I show a bit of a, we'll see how this goes. I actually show that there are 4 more points on the board for Tampa after that jam than is on the scoreboard, but of course the scoreboard is correct. So
we have an extra official in the infield, a games official that the head referee communicating to. So perhaps more to report on that later, but just in time with lead jam now.
That lead jammer for Tampa Bay is number 25, just in time. Four points? My eyes are not very good.
Well, the scoreboard operator hasn't seen them either.
Well, the scorekeeper is the official keeper of the score and communicates with the scoreboard operator. Well, okay. Yeah, the score on the scoreboard has not changed. An official timeout stops
Good time
the
for one.
clock at 6 minutes and 39 seconds. And I think the jam ref is going to address that issue.
Four points. You called it. That's what I thought I heard.
All right. Every now and then, an announcer can see something. But the officials on top of things, get it all sorted out. And we are at 2:04 to 72 with 6 minutes and a half to play in this game.
Hammer time and High Roller. Once again, High Roller needs to, hammer time with lead jam, but we have a race. River City Riot needs to pull some major jammer penalties and then capitalize on those, and it's unlikely to happen at this point as far as being able to decide the game.
Well, and just the momentum in the second period belongs to Tampa. 1 point apiece awarded on this jam.
No real way to sugarcoat it. Tampa has definitely earned this potential victory they have. Able to build the lead after the first few minutes, maintain that lead, and then in the second half build even more on top of that.
Well, and that can be seen in the percentage of lead calls in the second period. It was significant in the first period, but in the second period, 78% of the lead calls have gone to Tampa. Now that has just changed by one, as number 1, Jake Brake, has the star for River City and is out first. Coming around on a scoring pass. All 4 blockers out there for Tampa. Only 1 blocker on the track at that moment for River City, but by a well-timed call-off, Jake picks up 2 unanswered points.
On the last nerve, unable to reach the pack quite in time, so good awareness there.
Jake goes right back to the jammer line. This is something I noticed in the game I watched River City play earlier today. They have a tendency to sometimes have their jammers just do 2 in a row. Is number 6, Ponsa, with the star for Tampa, who picks up lead on this jam. Jake Brake trying on the outside line, held up by number 23, Complicated. Now recycled to the infield and has to come back in behind number 7, Haley Dubinsky. 5 points on the board for Evan Ponsa.
And Tampa losing a blocker.
Action is kind of clogged up now as we see some good blocking from River City, containing Ponsa for a few extra seconds, but calling it off as he gets out of the pack is awarded 5 more, a total of 10 on the jam.
Seeing a number of blockers for River City Riot coming in that we have not seen quite as much of in this game. So potential penalty trouble. There are also 2 different skaters who are in various states of medical attention or taking their gear off. So River City Riot, kind of a war of attrition here on their bench.
Number 25, just in time, lead jammer for Tampa. The star held by number 777, High Roller for River City.
Crawling back. Don't want to chance that track cut.
High Roller has made it out of the pack, but your lead jammer, number 25, calls off the jam with 4 points on this time.
.219.75 with under 3 minutes to go. Tampa Bay looks like most certainly will advance to the 5th place game tomorrow, and River City Riot will play in the 7th place game tomorrow.
So by coming in as the number 7 seed and ending up playing for number 5 or number 6, Tampa Bay has definitely improved on their seed.
Not the first time in history that they have beaten the odds.
Going to the air, Jake Brake, number 1, is the first one through and lead jammer. But his opponent, number 21, Hammer Time, is actually out in front of him.
Come on, let's go. Nope. Good sportsmanship.
Yeah, a little exchange of recognition between those 2 jammers there, as Jake Brake does play it safe and call off the jam. No points scored on that jam.
This has been a fun game despite the score, and that's my favorite kind.
Down to under 2 minutes to play, so it's conceivable that this next jam could be the last one of the game. Most of our jams have been shorter than that, though.
only 23 jams in this half. We have seen a lot more. Yeah, it seems that way.
So we got number 37, Lil Ugly, out there jamming against number 4, Anya Last Nerve. It's Anya who gets through first and is lead. Lil Ugly still held up on the inside line, the pack moving through turn 2 into the straightaway. Anya completes a scoring pass. It's 5 additional points for Tampa. Anya back into the pack and calls it off. 4 more. So 9 on the jam.
2:28:75. We will have time for one more jam, pending a. Well, I guess we'll see, but we'll definitely have time enough for one more jam, and then from there, unless anything strange happens, that'll probably be the final jam. As you see, the difference in the game clock and the lineup clock.
So it's number 1, Jake Break, according to. My highly unofficial numbers, this is his 17th time out there jamming during the course of the game.
I have no doubt whatsoever.
Taking on number 6, Evan Ponsa for Tampa. Evan's out there for the 13th time in the game. Evan is through first, lead jammer, but Jake able to score as well. Period clock has expired, so it is definitely the final jam, and Evan calls it off. He earned 4 points. Jake earned 2.
High fives all around on the Tampa bench, but congratulations to both teams as the unofficial final 232-77. We'll have the official total shortly, but penalty trouble all around, but especially on the River City Riots. Hopefully now with injured skaters, we'll be able to recover and play effectively for 7th place tomorrow. The 5th place game will feature the Tampa All-Stars, just waiting to find out who their opponent will be. But again, Tampa going from number 7th to possible 5th if they lose that game 6th. River City Riot entering as the number 6 seed and will be playing for at best 7th, possibly 8th place, both of those games tomorrow. Full schedule. You've seen the bracket a few times this weekend, but I have the bracket also on my Twitter at StandByTommy. I believe JRDA probably has posted it as well. Watch out, fans! Almost had a crash there on the victory lap. Never mind. 232-78, that is the final score.
So the next game does determine the opponents of both of these teams in their respective games tomorrow. Those games are at noon and 2 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. Please tune in for those. By sheer happenstance, according to my unofficial numbers, the last jam of the game featured the 2 high scorers from their respective teams, Evan Ponsa with 82 points and Jake Break with 33 points for River City. So good work to both of these teams. River City, playing for the second time today, managed to keep it together for the first half. They let the second half get away from them a bit. We'll see them play tomorrow. So thank you once again to our audience joining us for WFTDA.TV coverage of the Junior Roller Derby Association Championships right here in Loveland, Colorado. I have been Brad Example.
And stand by here. Everybody stand by and, yes, hydrate. And I'll be back for the nightcap tonight, but one more game before then. Stay tuned.
So it's just before 6 p.m. We'll bring the next game to you as soon as we can.